we just heard a most optimistic outlook for Afghanistan that I think most Americans would be shocked to hear in reality. Given the number of failed states in Africa, the Middle East, and possibly Pakistan, how deep is the American reservoir going to be to deal with what is going to be a decades-long process to make Afghanistan not a failed state?
Well, you addressed that to me. I think that's a very important question. Let's say there are several aspects to keeping Afghanistan on the path that we hope it is on. I don't know if we would say that we are being optimistic. What we are trying to do, I think, is outline the positive elements that we can work with. We're not making a prediction. And being pessimistic about Afghanistan is not an intellectual challenge, and it would be beneath us. Of course, there are many internal and regional factors that could cause Afghanistan to suffer a crisis and undergo some kind of deeper conflict. Crisis in the national unity government, the armed forces. But as you rightly mentioned, it could also be pushed into that conflict by a sudden cutoff of assistance, which is now in the area of, it's targeted at remaining at $5 billion a year. I think that, of course, that probably is unsustainable for a long period of time. It's unsustainable for the United States and that degree, and its partners, and that degree of aid dependency is not sustainable for Afghanistan either. So a lot depends on the performance of the current government, on whether it really is able to show that it is delivering something in the next few years that is putting Afghanistan on a path toward stability and greater self-sufficiency. If that is the case, I think, given the very broad international consensus and, as Ambassador Slanine mentioned, domestic consensus in Afghanistan against going back to civil war. By the way, that consensus is allegedly shared by the Taliban, who have published articles on their website saying that they do not want to take Afghanistan back to civil war and destroy its current assets. Given that, if there's a reasonable degree of performance, we may be able to keep aid on a decreasing glide path for, say, 5 to 10 years. Now, I'm sure there will be bumps along the way. And the important thing is just to avoid, and I think everyone in Afghanistan knows that, they were not going to be receiving the amount of aid that they have been getting permanently. So we need to manage and negotiate the way that that the aid is reduced. I think that is possible, but as I said, it is possible that for reasons having nothing to do with Afghanistan, but having to do with U.S. domestic politics or the world, something will happen that stops that aid. But as I said, there's no intellectual challenge in trying to be pessimistic about such a difficult country. What we're trying to do is show that there is a way forward.